talking with athletic directors and schools at here in a couple of weeks about the possibility of schools be providing content for that as well, especially if there are situations where fans are not allowed, or there's a significant limit to the number of fans that can be at an event.
Jason and Seth and all the guys over there doing great work at Blue Frame. They've came in and made your life, I think, a little more easier over the last couple of years with Blue Frame.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and even though last year was our first year, our expectations were met early on, and very excited about moving into year two and the different possibilities of what we're going to be able to do. One thing that people don't consider, they just assume that high school is going to have activities. Is the schools still have to pay for that as well. Even our budget here at the MSHSAA office is the majority of our budget is predicated on ticket sales at postseason events. And if fans aren't allowed at events, even during the regular season, that's a revenue stream that schools use to pay for their programs. So coming up with alternative revenue streams is also something that we're working on for our membership.
Well, I mean, and that's where the help that the federal government and the Small Business Administration came in and really helped you guys, me, many others out, and we're probably going to need a little more help down the road too as well.
Yeah, and they've also been able to help schools out with a lot of their summer activities and being able to have the start of the school year in the fall.
Yeah, and we did have a parent question come in on Facebook. And, she's going to have a sophomore that plays athletics in high school. And, there's been different safety measures from, like AAU organizations that have put in. And, other states, like you mentioned, Iowa played some summer baseball, which they typically do anyway. They usually start a little earlier. But what other organizations, state organizations and activities associations have you guys been in contact with to kind of run ideas by each other and say, hey, or how are you guys going to handle this? Or what are you doing with this? And, I mean, I'm sure those conversations have happened, but what are some of those states and organizations you guys have talked to?
Well, actually, there's been an awful lot. There are 51 other state associations like MSHSAA, with the Washington, D.C. having an association as well for the 51st, for those that think my math is off. But, one of the good things of Dr. Erhan serving on the board of directors for the NFHS, and this year he'll be the president of that board, is he has a lot of contacts across the country. So we have been talking with not just Kansas, not just Iowa, but Illinois, Wisconsin. A lot of basically all of the Midwest states have been in tight communication, and as we always are during any time, we share ideas back and forth. But with his connections at the NFHS, that's also branched out to other states that we may normally not necessarily reach out to. But the New York Public High League, the Hawaii Association, West Virginia, some of Texas and UIL, we've heard from their office as well. So there's a number. We haven't contacted all 51 yet, but we've definitely contacted a lot of them.
It's a very unique situation all across the country, and I know the NFHS, maybe if somebody's not familiar, we've mentioned them several times here, but it's the National Federation for High School Sports, and they kind of blanket rule kind of everything, and then when you guys get that information, then you make it specific for Missouri, to kind of break that down. Am I explaining that right for maybe somebody that's not familiar?
No, that was right on it. The NFHS is the national governing body. They're actually the rules writing body. So when you talk about high school football rules or high school basketball rules, the NFHS is the body that has does the rule writing for those sports. Now, each state then may make their own accommodations, or there are some rules that are by state adoption. For basketball, for instance, I'm probably stirring up a hornet's nest here.
I love that one.
One of the biggest topics for basketball is the shot clock, and based on NFHS rules right now, shot clocks were not allowed. Now, states may adopt a shot clock, and if they do, they basically forfeit their ability to be on the rules committees for that particular sport. But other than that, that's where the NFHS steps in and works on the national level.
Well, Jason, and you guys now have I can't remember the person's name, but in his position on the board or with MSHSAA, but now you have somebody pretty high up in NFHS, right?
Yeah, well, Dr. Erhan, our executive director, is president of the NFHS board of directors.
And that probably helps you guys out tremendously having
that. It has, and just like our office, the NFHS office is always open to field questions from state associations and things like that. But having him serve on the board of directors the last 3 years, that has certainly kind of helped us get in when we do have questions. We may be able to ask the sport administrator a question, but then he can go to a board meeting and say, okay, is this really where the association, the NFHS, needs to be headed?
Nice. Well, we want to thank you for all the great information that you've given us, especially when it comes to clearing up stuff. Because sometimes we read the rules and we're like, oh, I don't know if that's clear. So it's nice for you to come on and explain a lot of that stuff, or any questions we had. But I do have a big time question for you. It's I don't really know you guys are in Columbia, right? Like,
yes.
Okay. Now I don't really know it that well besides MU, but some people do. So I need you to give me. You guys have barbecue in Columbia? Like good barbecue?
We do.
Okay. What's the spot you go to?
We do.
What's the spot you go to?
Columbia Smoke and Fire.
What's the best dish there?
Bird ends are really good.
Hey, all right.
The ribs. Now that's a sit down place.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't need to have four walls around you, I would highly recommend Big Daddy's.
Big Daddy's.
Big Daddy's.
Big Daddy's. That's a walk up, take it with you.
Okay.
It's like a food truck, or is it just like a small little building type deal?
It's one of those that's evolved from a food truck.
Okay.
They have a small building, but it's not a sit down in a restaurant type place. It's
kind of like an old Dairy Queen building.
Yeah, what Dairy Queen, Tasty Freeze.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a place where you could get really good barbecue, because some people would be turned off by the fact that you're not going inside a place, but I've learned sometimes those are the best places.
Oh yeah.
The best barbecue places are the ones that you have to tell people the health department says it's okay.
Yeah.
Let me follow that food question up with another food question. You and I, spend a lot
of food questions all day long.
You'll take those. We can just do a whole show on food, right? You and I spent a lot of time in Oklahoma. You're from there. I was raised there. Now, Patrick Mahomes has gotten Whataburger to come to Kansas City. They say they're coming. We haven't seen it yet. One, are you going to make the trip down I-70 to Kansas City to pick up some Whataburger? And two, how are we ever going to get Coney Islander and Brahms into Kansas City?
I could care less if Coney Islander and Brahms come to Kansas City, as long as they come to Columbia.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, the Tulsa Coney Islander, especially, that would be terrific. I don't think they're positioned to be able to expand that much. But, Brahms, they have that dang 250-mile rule that, if we could get them to break that freshness streak, then we might be able to do that. Or maybe set up another farm closer to Kansas City, maybe up in northeast Oklahoma. That could work instead of being in the central part of the state.
No, if it happens, Jason, it's coming to Kansas City, not Columbia.
Well, my wife always tells me there's two things that she wants to do, and that's is open up a Sonic on our side of town or get a Brahms. So
there you go. Happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Are you happy with
when
Patrick
I win the lottery?
Mahomes?
That's what I'm going to do.
Are you happy with Patrick Mahomes bringing a Whataburger to town, if it happens?
I was happy when Patrick decided to get out of the state of Texas. I am okay with Whataburger, even though it's a Texas company. I would definitely make a trip to Kansas City for Whataburger.
Nice.
I'm more of an In-N-Out guy personally than Whataburger. I wasn't when I had it in Texas. I was not as impressed, but hey, everything Mahomes touches is gold. So In-N-Out is better in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Now here's our Dallas Cowboy.
I've only had one opportunity to have Whataburger in my life, and I was with our softball team at TU in Fresno, California for a NCAA regional, and they left me at the softball field. So I have not been able to experience the Whataburger yet, the In-N-Out burger yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, In-N-Out. I think it's a better burger, but we could argue about that all day. I'm sure. I'm a food guy too. As if you can't tell, I eat a lot. So
here's the Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, luckily you only see me from the shoulders down.
Here's the Dallas Cowboy question for you and Gary. When do you think the Dallas Cowboys will return to the Super Bowl?
As soon as Jerry Jones sells the team.
Hey, whoa,
bold statement. I think that if Dak is as good as he is in his mind, they could do it this year.
If he's as good as he is in his mind, yeah.
But if not, I think McCarthy could bring a championship to the Cowboys. Now that Jason Garrett's out of town, I was so done with him about 5 years ago.
I've always been a Jason Garrett guy, but I especially this past year, I finally saw the light and saw that there was a lot of complacency there, and I think more than anything, the change. I don't want to say change in direction, but change in the leadership up top is going to fire some people up and hopefully get them over that hump.
Yeah, I hope so. We've done, roughly around 130 episodes, something like that, and probably on 110 of them, I was #fire Jason Garrett. So
always
there was. It used to be in my show notes every week.
In the show notes, he made sure he said it every single time. Yeah, as kind of I'm a Chiefs fan, but I could see from afar. I thought Jason Garrett was just like he was just like okay. He was just all right. He was like he's like Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. Like you win games, you don't really win any playoff games. You do okay. And so it was time for them to move on. We'll see if McCarthy can do it, but I like how you said that if Dak's as good as he thinks he is in his head, because he thinks he's the he thinks he's a $45 million a year guy, and I think there's only one. There's only one right now, but I don't know. Going forward, we'll see. So I don't know. Franchise tag for Dak, so we'll see how that all plays out this year.
Here's a message.
There's only one star in Dallas, and unfortunately, it's not on the helmet.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you a little message about we were talking about food, but you remember J.V. Haney, Coach Haney, and Tommy
Coach
Thompson.
Haney.
I'm sure
Yep.
they're out once a week driving through that part of Oklahoma, finding a different hamburger joint every week. And I think us in the Midwest Mikes maybe need to do that through Missouri and Kansas sometime too. Just go find the best burger places. But yeah, JV's doing well.
I'm in.
And Tommy Thompson. Did you ever know Tommy Thompson?
I did.
Yeah.
Coach Haney was still doing the color commentary on a lot of those, especially for basketball, on the radio network with Bruce Howard, and just listening to JV's stories. could take a week.
Yeah.
The one thing I remember about him was going to his camps as a youngster in a gym.